Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're looking into, well, a really fascinating approach to creating wealth. Imagine if achieving what some people call unlimited wealth was actually as simple as planting a single seed. This deep dive is based on some powerful ideas from the audiobook The Prosperity Seed by Angus Life. It claims to lay out, precise actions that lead to this kind of self-perpetuating cycle of increasing returns.
That's right. And the core idea in the book is pretty compelling. It suggests the world's most successful people have figured out that financial abundance kind of follows natural laws, like a garden, basically. Their success isn't necessarily from super complex strategies or just grinding it out 234/7. It's more about understanding how to plant these specific prosperity seeds that multiply automatically once properly established.
Okay.
And what's really interesting is the claim that many people see, like initial growth within days of their first planting.
Within days. Wow. Okay, that definitely makes you lean in. So let's unpack this. What exactly are these seeds and, how do we actually plant them? So the book kicks things off by focusing on the mind, cultivating the mind first. It calls this planting inner seeds for outer wealth. And lesson one is super direct. Plant I am wealthy in your mind daily.
Hmm.
It uses this really powerful analogy, doesn't it? That your mind is basically a garden and every thought you plant grows into your reality.
Exactly. And this is absolutely crucial because the book talks about wealth consciousness as being your personal soil, the ground where prosperity grows. And it contrasts that directly with what it calls the weeds of lack and limitation.
Right.
Things like thinking I can't afford that or money's just hard to come by. Those thoughts, the book says, they choke out abundance before it even gets a chance.
Okay, so for you listening, what does this mean in practice? The book gives some concrete steps. It says the best time to plant this I am wealthy thought is first thing in the morning when your mind is most receptive.
Makes sense. Kind of
Yeah.
sets the tone for the day.
Yeah, like a 5-minute ritual maybe, looking in
Uh,
the mirror and saying, I am wealthy and really trying to feel it, or maybe writing it down in a journal. And then throughout the day, it's about being vigilant, spotting those negative weed thoughts and immediately replacing them, pulling them out right away.
And just like a real garden needs water, these thoughts need uh, daily watering through practical action. It's not just thinking. This includes things like handling your money with respect, like keeping your wallet organized, treating bills carefully, keeping good records.
Okay.
These aren't just about being tidy. The book sees them as actions that reinforce that mental programming. They signal to your subconscious that you actually value wealth. It also mentions sharing this wealth consciousness with others, that doing so can create a kind of prosperity ripple effect, attracting more money-minded people and opportunities.
So the bottom line here for you is really shifting how you see things internally. Seeing wealth not as something you have to chase constantly, but as your natural state. Expecting it, attracting it, just because of how you think. It's a deep internal shift.
Right. And the results, according to the book, often pop up in surprising ways, which is fascinating. It's not always linear, like getting a raise. It might be unexpected income, finding hidden assets somehow, getting brilliant ideas for making money, deals just falling into place, partnerships, even gifts showing up, or maybe your existing income streams just start multiplying with less effort. And beyond just the money, thinking this way helps you develop a rich perspective on life, seeing abundance everywhere.
Okay, so you've planted that seed in your mind. What's next? The book argues the next vital step is about the value you put out there, which brings us to lesson two. Plant My Work creates exceptional value in all you do. The core idea being that your work directly mirrors your inner beliefs about your own value.
Yeah, and this really starts with figuring out your special combination of abilities. What are you uniquely good at? Maybe explaining complex things simply. Or having a great eye for detail. Those are the foundations. And then it's about bringing excellence to everything you do, no matter how small. Because that consistent quality builds a reputation that, frankly, makes you stand out.
And it gives examples of going above and beyond, doesn't it? Like thinking proactively, what else might this customer need? Or offering extra helpful suggestions. Or maybe including more information in a project than was strictly asked for just to make it better. It's not just about working harder, but smarter, building lasting rewards, making yourself irreplaceable by constantly learning and growing.
Exactly. And this idea of value isn't just about your 9 to 5 job. It includes your attitude, reliability, and willingness to help others. It's less about just logging hours and more about working smarter and more meaningfully. The goal is creating lasting improvements and sustainable value in really all your interactions.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me. This mindset becomes like a filter, right? You start constantly asking, how can I make this even better? What would add real value here?
Precisely. And that commitment, that focus on creating exceptional value is what naturally attracts success. The logic is you're focused on giving more than you receive, so wealth just has to flow back. It's like a natural law.
Okay, next up is lesson 3, and this one tackles a really common belief. Plant money flows to me effortlessly in your expectations. It directly challenges that idea that making money has to be hard work and struggle.
He uses a great analogy for this. It describes money like water in a river. It naturally wants to flow and circulate. So the key, according to the book, is to find and remove your own mental barriers and resistance. Those beliefs that might be blocking that flow, like thinking money is scarce or you don't deserve it easily.
So this means actively working on your beliefs about earning, maybe noticing opportunities you've been blind to, and setting up automated income streams if you can. The book really emphasizes having multiple channels for money to come in. Your main job, sure, but also maybe a side business, investments, passive income, consulting, diversification of flow.
And your expectations definitely shape how you receive money too. Do you feel awkward getting paid well? Do you downplay your worth? Those feelings can actually restrict the flow. The advice is to accept unexpected money gracefully. Learn to be a good receiver. Just say thank you, genuinely. It's about aligning your actions too, simplifying how you earn, automating, delegating the low-value stuff, and focusing your energy on high-impact activities.
That really makes you think, doesn't it? Are you, the listener, truly open to receiving, really receiving the abundance that might be trying to reach you? Which flows perfectly, actually, into lesson 4. Plant, I deserve abundance in your self-image. The book suggests many people struggle not because they lack skills, but because of this quiet, inner sense of unworthiness.
Yeah, like a hidden belief. And it compares this belief to a thermostat that controls the level of success and abundance you unconsciously allow yourself to experience.
Wow, a thermostat.
Right. And it connects this back to nature's unlimited abundance to argue that abundance is actually your natural state. You deserve abundance simply because you exist. It's not about ego. It's about accepting your birthright, essentially.
So how do you actively work on that self-image? The book gives practical actions, things like setting higher standards for yourself, maybe upgrading your environment, being more intentional about your associations, spending time with more ambitious, positive people, and consciously raising your expectations of what's possible for you. Another suggestion is a morning ritual, declaring, I deserve abundance with complete conviction, and really celebrating your wins, even the small ones.
And watching your language is a big one, too. Instead of, I can't afford that, asking, how can I afford it? Shifts the energy completely. It's also about taking actions that demonstrate self-worth, investing in your own learning, charging prices that reflect your true value. And yeah, the book acknowledges that feeling some initial discomfort is totally normal when you push past those old limits. It's a sign of growth.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit to activating awareness. Lesson 5. Plant, I see opportunities everywhere in your awareness. The idea here is that successful people aren't just lucky. They're better at, well, spotting and seizing opportunities.
Right, and this taps into something called the brain's reticular activating system, the RAS. You can think of it like your brain's filter. It focuses your attention on what you tell it is important. So if you consistently think about possibilities, about opportunities, you're basically programming your RAS to notice them more. It's like when you decide on a new car and suddenly see it everywhere. The book even suggests making it a kind of game. Try to find at least 3 potential opportunities each day. Just train your brain to look.
So how do you get better at seeing them? The book suggests things like really listening to complaints or wishes people express those often point to unmet needs. Also, reading news about your industry or interests, looking for gaps or trends, and networking actively, remembering that each person knows something you don't. And crucially, opportunities can be disguised as problems, setbacks, or mundane situations. Like maybe losing a job is the push you needed to start that business.
Yeah, exactly. And to make this more concrete, it recommends keeping an opportunity journal. Just jot down ideas, things you notice, look for patterns later. It sums it up nicely. Luck isn't about chance, it's about preparation meeting opportunity. You have to be prepared to see it.
That really changes how you look at things, doesn't it? Your job isn't necessarily to create opportunity out of nothing, but just to keep your radar on, ready to detect things when they show up. And that leads us straight into lesson 8, which builds on that. Plant, I solve valuable problems in your work. The book is really clear on this. The greatest fortunes come from solving problems that matter to people.
So Developing your problem radar means getting good at noticing frustrations, complaints, inefficiencies around you. And the advice is to aim for bigger problems. Problems that affect lots of people or businesses, things related to health, relationships, money, time, emotional well-being. These are areas where people are highly motivated to find solutions.
And building that reputation as a problem solver, it comes down to consistently delivering results, right? Documenting your successes, gathering testimonials, and a key point, pricing your solutions based on the value they create, not just the hours you put in. That's a big mindset shift for many.
It really is. The
Yeah.
book also talks about expanding your ability to solve problems through ongoing learning and, importantly, through scaling solutions. This could mean creating repeatable systems, training others, using automation, and
Yeah.
underlying it all is building long-term relationships by focusing on creating lasting positive change.
What's fascinating there is the direct link it draws.
Yeah.
The size of your income often reflects the size of the problems you solve for others. Bigger problems, bigger rewards. Okay, let's talk about the flow, the energetic exchange. Lesson 6 is plant, I give and receive freely in your interactions. Prosperity is framed as a cycle, like breathing in and out. Both giving and receiving are essential.
Yeah, and it talks about smart generosity, not depleting yourself, but giving value freely, sharing knowledge, talents, resources where it makes sense. But just as important, maybe even more difficult for some, is learning to receive gracefully, without feeling guilty or unworthy, just saying thank you when someone offers help, a compliment, or a payment.
And this applies to relationships too. Building wealth relationships based on mutual benefit, creating win-win situations. The advice is pretty clear. Avoid toxic relationships that drain you. Focus your energy on creating value and serving others while staying open to receiving in return.
And it broadens the definition of wealth here, reminding us that money is just one form of wealth.
Mhm.
We should practice giving and receiving freely in all areas: love, knowledge, support, inspiration, connections. The core idea is powerful. True wealth flows through you, not to you. Being a conduit creates that sustainable abundance.
That leads us nicely into lesson 9, which feel like it goes a bit deeper. Plant prosperity flows through me in your spirit. This suggests that true prosperity begins in your spirit by aligning with universal laws of abundance.
Right. And the first step, the absolute foundation, according to the book, is developing an attitude of gratitude, being genuinely thankful for what you already have right now. It explains that negative thoughts, complaints, cynicism, they create blockages in that pipe. They stop the flow. Whereas positive energy, especially gratitude, keeps prosperity flowing freely.
So what does that look like in practice? The book mentions spiritual practices like consciously blessing money when it comes in and when it goes out, or using meditation or prayer to focus specifically on abundance, maybe visualizing golden light around your finances. It's all based on that principle. Your inner state creates your outer reality.
hmm And it encourages staying open to unexpected ways prosperity might show up and consistently treating others with generosity. Because helping others prosper actually strengthens your own abundance consciousness. It even suggests making your physical environment match your prosperous spirit, keeping things clean, organized, maybe adding symbols of abundance that resonate with you.
So the core message feels quite liberating, actually. You don't have to struggle and strain so hard. You just need to create the right internal conditions, that openness, to allow prosperity to flow through you. Okay, finally, let's talk about sustaining growth. Lesson 7. Plant my income grows constantly in your financial vision. The idea is your vision acts like a magnet, pulling you towards greater wealth.
Exactly. This involves setting clear money goals that stretch your current reality. Not just incremental bumps, but maybe aiming to double or triple your income within a set time frame. Your brain then gets programmed to work on achieving that bigger target. And of course, it emphasizes taking strategic action, boosting current income streams, or creating new ones.
And adopting an investment mindset is key here, isn't it? Seeing money as a tool to make more money, not just something to spend. So
Right.
consistently setting aside money for investment stocks, real estate, maybe even investing in your own skills.
Definitely. And daily review of those income goals, really visualizing the growth, tracking your progress. These are presented as vital practices. And I like how it reframes obstacles. They're not failures, just temporary pauses where you're actually building stronger financial foundations for the next leap.
What's really powerful here is that idea of multiplying your effectiveness through leverage, right? Serving more people in less time, creating products that sell while you sleep. That shifts things from linear earning to potentially exponential. Okay, and that brings us to the final seed, lesson 10, which wraps it all up with a focus on outlook. Plant I expect success in your outlook. It's about knowing that success comes naturally when you plant the seed of positive expectations.
Yeah, expecting success literally programs your brain to find ways to achieve it. It helps you see setbacks not as the end of the road, but as feedback information to help you adjust course. The advice is to celebrate the small wins along the way to build momentum and really train yourself to focus on what's going right, even when things are tough.
And this means your actions should match those expectations, right? Dressing the part, speaking with confidence about your goals, living that prosperity vision by seeing yourself as already successful.
Absolutely, and its stress is guarding those expectations from negative people. Surround yourself instead with optimistic achievers. It even suggests things like morning and evening success rituals to keep programming your mind for success, reinforcing it constantly.
So, the powerful takeaway here for you, the listener, is that your expectations really do become self-fulfilling prophecies. They create this unstoppable momentum towards your goals. And there you have it. That was our deep dive into the core ideas from the prosperity seed. The central theme really is pretty clear. Creating abundance isn't some hidden secret. It's about understanding and, maybe more importantly, applying natural laws, much like tending a garden. The real impact seems to come from consistently planting these different seeds in your mind, your work, your relationships, and even your spirit.
It really is. And it emphasizes that true wealth is so much more than just the number in your bank account. It's about cultivating a rich perspective on life overall and enhancing your ability to contribute something meaningful to the world. It definitely makes you think about the power packed into your everyday thoughts and actions.
So, as we wrap up, maybe a final thought for you to consider long after this deep dive. Considering all these powerful seeds we've explored today, what single small action could you plant today that might just begin to transform your financial reality?